Hey there everyone, welcome to the UkeStuff channel and welcome to this full UkeGuide review of this instrument. This is the Enya EUC-X1 HPL Concert Ukulele. Now I do want to disclose that this was sent to me by Enya for review, particularly as I had bought the Martin OXK concert, and the Martin is the only other HPL full ukulele that's on the market right now, and the Enya comes in at a fraction of the price of the Martin, and I wanted to compare the two. So you will see eventually a comparison with the Enya. However, because this was sent to me, I wanted to make sure that I disclose this as a sponsored video, even though I'm not receiving any other payment for it. They did send me this to review and to keep. I also want to point out what you get with this ukulele. So you also get one of the better gig bags in the market. Are there better ones? Yes, with a couple more features, but since Enya came out with these many years ago, it is one of the nicer gig bags that you'll see. Good size packet on the front. You get cushioning on the handle. You get a padded backpack strap that can flip to either side, and it does not have a bumper on the bottom, but it does have a hanger on the back. So basically my test is always with a gig bag is it something that you could carry for a day while at a conference or a convention or an ukulele festival comfortably? And the answer is yes with this. Now there are a number of other things that you get with the ukulele, including this bag. And I've used these bags for a number of things with the Enyas that I've owned over the years. You get a set of their fluorocarbon strings. Some people like them, some people don't. I like them. I like the light gauge, personally. You get a ukulele capo to it. You get a cleaning cloth. You get a set of picks, which I do not recommend using. You can use them with the HPL. You might scratch it over time. I would always use a leather or a felt pick. I know there's a lot of thoughts on that, but in general, I try to stay away from plastic picks with ukuleles. You get a finger shaker if you want to use it. You get a strap if you want to use it, which I would suggest you do because you also get straps on the ukulele or strap buttons on the ukulele. And you get a tuner, and there's a battery floating around in there loosely. I'm not quite sure why that's in there. I think it just popped out of the tuner case. So you do get all those extras as well at this price point, which is at the time $119. We'll get into that later. You can find these often for less, but that is a fraction of the price of the Martin OXK. By the way, the Martin does go for $349 right now, so the question eventually is going to be, do you get another $230 of value buying the Martin? At any point in this video, I'm going to go over the subjective categories that I look at with all instruments. Then I'll go over the specifications, and then I'll summarize the instrument and give it a UkeGuide rating. And then, of course, as always, there are three things you can do to help this channel. First of all, you can like the video. Second, you can subscribe to the channel. And third, you can always buy me a cup of coffee to say thank you for making this material at buymeacoffee.com/UkeStuff. And I'll just mention that I have some other items for sale there, including my chord melody arrangements for hymns and my chord melody arrangements for Christmas carols. I usually start these videos right with a demonstration, but considering this was sent to me for review purposes, I thought it'd be better to do that first. So let's do the tuning of this instrument. Now I've had this for a while, and it actually came with me camping this summer because I wanted to test it in that situation. Still flawless, but here are some demonstration tunes. All right, let's get into the subjective categories for this instrument. First of all, cost. Again, I've already mentioned that it lists at $119 for this and the bag and all the stuff, which is a great deal, but you can often find it less than that. Sometimes under $100 for this instrument, which is a very low cost for what you're getting. And just getting to value, it is an exceptional deal. Like many Enya products, particularly on their lower end, high quality combined with great value in what you're getting for an instrument. And this is no different. The build quality looks flawless, and it sort of should. If you don't know what HPL laminate is, it's basically your countertop material for a home that doesn't have like granite or something in it. It's layered laminated sheets of paper through a chemical process. And again, it's not as thick as for example, a kitchen countertop, but it is definitely sandwiched in there. And what you end up with is a highly resilient material. Now, please note that that doesn't mean that it's necessarily super strong. I had a friend who was working on an Enya and was trying to give it a side sound port. And this was years ago when these sort of instruments first came out. And something fell on the ukulele while he was doing that and ended up cracking it like an eggshell. So they can break. They are not like a carbon fiber or something like a polycarbonate ukulele that's going to handle severe abuse. These will break, but they will hold up to other environmental conditions, like going camping. Theoretically, in your car, there shouldn't be too many issues, although there are items that are glued down on it that could, pop off with heat and things. But it's going to be much more weather resistant than your standard ukulele. So the build quality is pretty flawless. Now, at this time of the year, it's summer as I'm recording this here in North America and particularly the Midwest. So we have a lot of humidity right now. Now, the fretboard is rosewood on this. It's not a Richlite fretboard, and you can actually see the grains on it as I hold it up there. But it did have some sharp fret ends that I had to deal with originally. It wasn't terrible, but it was just on the edge of being sharp. So I took care of those with just a sanding sponge, and we're all good now, and it's not going to have any problems from that point. All right, let's take a look at the inside of the EUC-X1. Here we go. You can see it's standard build here. And as we look at the back, you've got the horizontal bracing, C notch kerfing. You can see that it does have a tail block, so that is where the strap button is connected. Very, very clean build. Now let's see if I can angle up here. There's the bridge plate. You can see the pull-through bridge, and you can see the beads that are tied on there, as well as the vertical brace that runs up the center of the ukulele. There's no other brace needed with a material like this. All right, let's look at the upper bout. All right, I've moved back about as far as I can go. You can see the neck block up there. You can see the horizontal brace, and you can see a couple of vertical braces that support the sound hole. And if I bend down a little bit, you can see the Enya logo is engraved on the very top of the instrument, along with the notch kerfing there. Very, very, very clean build, which is what we've come to expect from Enya. And that's our quick look at the Enya EUC-X1. Now, in terms of appearance, it's an HPL pattern, but it really doesn't look like wood, does it? I mean, it's clearly a laminate. It's not unattractive, but nobody's gonna mistake that for a wood ukulele, just like they won't the Martin either. The Martin's pattern is very different than this, and when I compare the two, you'll actually see that. You also get the slotted headstock with the rear-facing tuners and a mahogany neck. So the neck also could be a composite to make this even more weather resistant, but it's not. So you could have a Richlite fretboard, you could have a composite neck, which would make this whole package, again, a little more weather resistant. Now, am I worried about it? No, but I'm also not going to be leaving this out in the range. So the appearance, though, otherwise is pretty plain. You do have the strap buttons on the top and on the bottom, and you do have the slot headstock, but other than that, it's pretty plain. The availability, as far as I know, these are still available. I saw some discussion some time ago about Enya discontinuing these, but I don't think that's true necessarily. And even if it is true, there are plenty of these to go around. And my guess is that Enya will make more if they need to. They have the ability to do so. In terms of playability, it has a radius fretboard, which is nice. It's a very slight radius. You can see it in the saddle there, how the saddle is curved, but the fretboard is slightly curved. I don't know if it's possible to even see it. It has a slight radius, which is unheard of at this price point generally, but it does have a very C-shaped neck. So my negative comments of this, the neck could be more shallow and flat, more D-shaped than C-shaped. I would like that, but it would also not keep me from buying this instrument. And of course, I already mentioned that it did have some sharp fret ends. Now, the sound quality. If you listen to the beginning or compare it to some other recordings, the setup is the same as it has been for a long time. If I play chords, it's a very pleasing, well-balanced sound. Doesn't sound plastic at all. I would argue that it sounds better than a number of laminates. But I have the Martin in my head as well when I play this and I compare it. And it's not as good of a sound as the Martin. It's quieter, and I think it's a little more, leans more towards the bright than the Martin. So as a result, I would say that the sound quality is good here. It's a good sound quality. The volume is okay. It's not super quiet. It's a well-balanced sound, but it's not as good as the Martin. Now, again, when we get to comparison later on another video, that's a question you're going to have to ask yourself. Is for an instrument that is a lower priced instrument that you can get often for under $100 or close to $100, is the Martin's extra $230 worth the tone difference? That's going to be up to you. So we'll talk about that in another video. Another thing I like to do in these videos is let you see what I'm hearing using the app Tonal Energy Tuner on my iPad, so you can see what's happening with the harmonic energy. So I play the C chord. Let's see what happens. Now, Tonal Energy Tuner is showing that the notes are sustaining and that you get a good spectrum at the strum, but really then the low tones continue, but it doesn't feel boxy. It's a very interesting sound, very light and balanced sound that actually is very different to my ear than it shows on Tonal Energy Tuner. All right, now that we've gone over the subjective categories, let's go over the specifications. It is a concert ukulele, and it is a 15-inch scale length exactly. There are 18 frets with 14 to the body, and there are side position markers. The body style is a double bout. The soundboard is HPL, as are the back and sides. The fretboard is rosewood, and the bridge is rich light. So that is rich light. I would like to see those two items match, and it is a pull-through bridge. And I should also mention again that the fretboard is a radius fretboard that can be seen both on the fretboard, it's very slight, and on the saddle there. The nut and saddle are bone, and it is a compensated saddle. The finish is sort of a matte satin. It's not a gloss. The overall length is 24.5 inches from the top of the instrument to the bottom of the instrument, not counting the strap pin. And it weighs 1 pound, 5.4 ounces, and it's balanced pretty well. It has the rear-facing tuners that are not marked with the Enya brand on them. Quite attractive with those buttons. The action at the first fret is a very low 0.34 millimeters, and the action at the 12th fret is 2.51 millimeters, so it's very easy to play. And in fact, if anything, if you're used to playing instruments with a higher setup, you may actually press too hard. The nut width is 36.36 millimeters, and the space at the first fret between G to A is 29.74, and then between the strings is about 9.47 millimeters. The depth of the neck, and that's one of my criticisms of the instrument, is a very chunky C-shaped at the third fret. That's just where I measure it. It's 21.74 millimeters, which is definitely on the tall end, particularly with a C-shaped neck. All right, let's summarize the instrument and give it a UkeGuide rating. Once again, Enya did send this instrument to me for review purposes, so I want that clear out there, which is again why this is listed as a sponsored video. But as we talk about this instrument, it is a very affordable package that comes with a very good kit, a good gig bag, all the things you would ever need in your playing. You get a weather sort of safe instrument. You don't have to worry too much about this. It's not going to crack due to low humidity. You might get sharp fret ends like this one had when I received it, but that's easy enough to take care of if it happens, and a little extra humidity would solve that problem completely too. So it's a very, very good package. Now, there are only two negatives to it, which is why this instrument gets the rating that it does for me. First of all, it is a bit on the quiet end, and its sound compared to the other HPL model on the market by Martin is not as good. It's a good sound. It's just not as loud and not as full. It's a balanced sound. No complaints about the sound. It's a great instrument to take with you. But if you play it side by side with the Martin, you'll notice it. So the sound is what it is. And the Enya HPL models have always sort of been knocked a bit in their scores by reviewers for being a little on the quiet end. I think that's fair. It's honest, it's true. And the second one, again, is the C-shaped neck that occurs on this instrument and so many other instruments that are the import instruments. And it's time for companies to start addressing that design as well. Now, again, on an existing model like this that's been out for years, I think I saw my first Enyas in 2016. It's now 2024 as I record this video. You're not going to go back and redesign your whole line. However, as you make new models down the road, as that happens, then you start addressing that design of the neck and you start changing that throughout the entire industry. And I don't know anybody who would say, please let my neck of my ukulele be even more C-shaped. I don't know anybody who falls into that. It doesn't help you as you're playing, and that is what else hurts the instrument. So what rating would I give this instrument? This one is going to get a 4 out of 5 potential ukuleles from me. Again, great deal, great instrument, great starter instrument. If you know somebody looking for a nice, safe starter instrument, you can't go wrong with this because, again, it is going to be kind of a very resistant instrument. It's going to play well. It has a great setup. It comes with a great kit. It has everything that you need. It just doesn't have the sound of a Martin, and it has a thick neck. So that pretty much covers it. All right, thanks so much for watching this review. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.